words, but language turns us all into gestures. 9 months ago, I feel sure about why I was doing it. I knew I had reasons. Edinburgh is lovely, first of all, and quiet and walkable and near the mountains and near the sea. The relationship I was in, was really alone. There was no one to answer to. No one was really checking in on me. There was a feeling that if I leaned into this isolation, something would be revealed. There was a great shape in my peripheral, and the isolation was the way to identify the shape. At first, I really thought the shape was a truth about the world that I wanted to uncover for selfish reasons. I thought I would face it by being very clever. I thought upon my discovery, people would say, "Oh, thank you, Savannah, for being the pattern." But while I went away, all I could think about was my shame. My shame wasn't an emotion. It wasn't passing weather. It was an entire way of being. It was this field surrounding me always. Shame creates a sort of magnifying bubble over the ego that distorts how you see yourself and how you see reality. It's honestly a kind of narcissism where somehow every event links back to the fundamental wrongness of your soul. I couldn't think of a kind of narcissism where somehow every event links back to the fundamental wrongness of your soul. I couldn't think about anything else. I had no choice but to investigate the shame. I followed the thread into the labyrinth of my mind, and the reality I found there, with Freud on one arm and Jung on the other, gentlemen, was not that I was a uniquely bad person, but that as a child I had suffered, and this suffering was wrecking my life. How much do you want to know, buddy? I'm not going to spend too long here because it's not really the point. There was how much I needed to suppress. That is not really the point. There was emotional neglect. There was dysfunction. To be good, I needed to suppress sadness, which I told and thought it was bad. But I believed that my childhood was kind of standard, and that people who complain about their childhood are weak, and that go grateful to have had the time and